Good morning, party people. It's 7:36 in the morning, and it's a beautiful day to be alive. I am the Wolfman, and you're somebody watching this video. I was just thinking about how I am going to die someday. It's what I like to think about every morning when I wake up. I'm going to die someday. There is a limited time that Benjamin Gross will be on this planet, and then it's over. A lot of people like to say that they know for sure what happens afterwards. Seems to be a mystery as far as I can tell. What we know for sure is that we have a limited time here on this planet. I am going to die someday. What about you? Not today, though. That's important. And that's my choice. Now, granted, I could get in a car accident, if a fucking meteor strike my car while I'm driving down the road. You know, I'm not saying that that won't happen. What I'm saying is I could have blown my brains out this morning, but I didn't want to. And so what? So what that means is it because I didn't kill myself? And I could have. Didn't want to. Could have. But I could have. But I didn't want to. But I could have. That means that I've chosen to be alive. So a lot of the spiritual teachers will tell you, oh, you choose your parents and you choose your life and you create your own reality. And that may or may not be true. But what certainly is true is that if you got two brain cells to rub together, you could figure out a way to kill yourself. And you haven't. And so, like, I know everybody gets scared when people start talking about suicide and thinking about it, but, like, it's generally not a good idea to not talk about things or not think about them just because you're scared. Of course, get help. If you're thinking about it in like, maybe I should do it today, maybe I should do it next Tuesday, maybe this is how I'll do it. If you're thinking about it with, like, serious intent, then, think of the person that you love the most and talk to them about it. But if you can think about it without actually doing it, it's a good thing to think about. It's not good to avoid thinking about things just because they're scary. You should think about the things that scare you, and there's a lot of power actually in having. I know the words contemplate suicide usually are scary words. It's like, oh, he's contemplating suicide. Well, I've contemplated suicide, but, like, in the true meaning of the word. Like, I've thought about it and I've decided it's a bad idea. This was a contemplation. Like, I spent some serious time thinking about it. And now it's like, hey man, this is all my choice. Like, I could have said, don't want to do this anymore, and I could have opted out. But I didn't. So I'm here by choice. I've said yes to this. This is fantastic. It feels very good to say yes. Saying yes to things feels very good. So, bullet points. Number 1, I'm going to die someday. Number 2, I could have killed myself this morning, but I chose to live. Number 3, this one's a little bit harder to this one's a little bit harder to wrap your head around than the last one. I'm like, okay, the last one was contemplating suicide's a good idea. So, like, what's this one going to be about? There aren't any good things and bad things. Not until you judge them. You get to decide. You say, I like it, it's good. You say, I don't like it, it's bad. It's only bad for you or good for you. It's all totally up to your judgment. There's no higher thing that says it's good or bad. Even if you've decided that you're a Christian and you're going to follow every word of the Bible, you're the one that decided that the Bible was right. Like, you're the decider at the end of the day. You've decided the Bible is good or that the Bible is wrong. You've decided that, and there's just no getting around it. Even if you, like, put your faith in God or the preacher or the guru, you can't get around the fact that you've decided. So what that says to me is that in reality, there are no good things or bad things as far as your reason is concerned. reason. You can feel whether it's good or bad. This is not the same for everybody. You can feel it though. You can go, oh, this feels good, or this feels bad. I like this, or I don't like this. But as in my practice, as I have started sort of more accepting the idea that there's nothing actually good or bad, that good or bad is an illusion, that I am caught in it. Like I'm not gonna pretend like I don't feel like some things are good and some things are bad. Like, pain more than a little bit. I start like, I don't really care for this. It's a bad thing. I still feel that. So it's more conceptual than embodied. But I don't think that anything is good or anything is bad on a conceptual level. And so the longer I hold that idea, the more things that I used to think were good and bad start to like lose their whatever it is. Then they become more clear as they're just things. They're not good things or bad things. They're just things. And it actually, right, the longer that I hold the concept that they're just things, the longer that these just things don't actually feel good or feel bad to me anymore. They're just, it's a thing. It feels hot. It feels cold. It feels rough. It feels smooth, but it doesn't feel good or bad. They're just things. All good things would be one way to say it. You say that everything is good, but it's a non-dualistic good at that point, because there's no bad to compare it to. It's just like, well, if I'm the one that makes it all good or makes it all bad, then I'm just going to decide it's all good, and that's going to be that. But realistically, it all just is. Now, it takes a minute to wrap your head around that if you want to, but it's not better for you to understand that than it is for you to disagree with it. Because there are no good things, no bad things. So if you disagree with what I'm saying, that's not good and it's not bad. And if I believe it, and it is a certain way, because I believe it, it's different than it was before I believed it. But it's not better now that I believe it. And so what this ends up pointing to is that there's no kind of life that's better than any other kind of life. Being born into money and fucking making good decisions and, doing everything that you want and having everything work out is not better than being born poor and having all of these horrible, quote, horrible things happen to you, and so on and so forth. It just, everything that happens just is. My life is not better than other people, and it's not worse than other people. That's where it comes in, is because you can look at somebody who was born into generational wealth and blah blah blah, and you can go, oh, they got it good. Sure, if you say so. I bet you they suffer. Everybody does. It seems like when there's nothing to suffer about, my mind just suffers anyways sometimes, and then I've got to just figure out how to not do that. And I'm getting better at it, but the point is, you don't need a reason to suffer. You're human. You'll do it. You'll suffer. You can be a rich human, you can be a poor human. It doesn't matter. You'll suffer. Everybody suffers until you decide not to, and then for quite some time after that. Fuck was I talking about? So I've decided to get enlightened, if that's possible, and I've been working on it, and feels like I'm moving in the right direction, and that feels good. It's very satisfying to feel like I'm moving in the right direction. I know I was sitting at a stoplight one time, and I had managed to meditate and practice myself in a very good mental state, and I came to a stoplight, and everything came to rest for a moment. I was sitting at a stoplight, and I was like, just this. But then, of course, the light turned green, and everything changed. But for a moment, I was happy. And I always remember that, and it feels really good. It feels really good. But anyways, the reason I bring that up is because what I tell myself when I'm trying to understand that that there aren't any things that are better than any of the other things, and they're all just what they are. And they have qualities, but they're not good or bad. Good or bad. It's just judgments. And I say, this is the hardest one for me. I say it's not better to be enlightened than it is to be confused. And I believe that. Like, conceptually, I still want what I want. Okay, so if there's nothing that's better than anything else, well, then how do you choose what to do? How do you decide what to do? And the answer is by feel and not by reason. Okay, so if you're a very smart person and you're a very reasonable and logical person, great. That will help you figure out how to do what you've decided to do. But you cannot use, I'm a firm believer that you cannot use your reason to come up with what you should do, because at the end of the day, the main thing that everybody thinks is good is survival, continuing to live. And it's not better to continue to live than it is to die. And you can disagree with this, and some of you do, and some of you don't. But I'm coming to terms that there's nothing better. If there's nothing better than anything else, you don't even have to survive. And thank God, because you're not going to. Like, you're gonna die someday. Eventually, you're gonna die. So, like, most people, their number one value is survival, and their number one fear is death. And so, like, if you and they don't think about it, which is the only reason why that can continue to be the case. Because if you sit down and think about it, and you're like, I'm living my life based off of the fear of death and the desire to survive, which are basically two sides of the same coin. Like, the desire to survive and the fear of death are the same thing. It's just one's the positive and one's the negative, but they're the same, mechanism. You're away from death and towards life. And don't get me wrong, I'm a huge fan of going towards life and away from death. It seems that if you go away from death and towards life, your life actually gets better. You're more excited, more enthusiastic, you create better things, you're nicer to people, you're healthier. If you go towards death, you get sick, you get depressed, you get fucking dirty, and things start to fall apart. There's a lot of misery between where you are and death. So unless you're sprinting towards the edge of a cliff, moving towards death is not going to alleviate any suffering. It's going to make you suffer more. Especially if you're not really into it. Like, if you jump into death with both feet, then maybe you'd be all right. But if maybe you'll be all right, he says. This is somebody that doesn't think that life is better than death necessarily. But while you're alive, be alive. But yeah, no, thank God that survival isn't better than dying, because if that was the game, and if the way to succeed was to survive, then we'd all fucking lose, because we're all going to die sooner or later. If you think about death for half a second, you'll realize that the desire to survive and the fear of death is no way to run your life. It's just a little stabilizing agent that keeps things from going too crazy while you're trying to figure out what it is that you really want to do with your life. I mean, you have a life not just to have a life. You have a life to do something. What is it that you want to do with it? Like, it's got to be more than, for me at least, it's got to be more than just surviving. Survival can't be the ultimate measure of success, because then everyone would be a failure, because everybody's going to die. So reason can't give you what to do. It just can't. You got to feel what to do. You got to decide what you like to do and do that, which means it's a very good chance that what you'll choose to do is unreasonable. In fact, I would say it's 100% chance. There's 100% chance that the thing that you want to do with your life is unreasonable. Like, if what you're trying to do, like most people, is survive, well, that's not reasonable, because fucking not gonna, like, I've been over it. You can't. You can't, but you want to, and it's a very good thing to do. Like, it's a very good thing to stay alive, but you can't. Not forever, but you might as well try. But that's not reasonable. It's not reasonable to try to stay alive, but it's good. Okay, so reason when I say something's unreasonable, it's not a put down, because I understand that like reason is only one of the ways that we can get through life. I think there are probably 8 ways to get through life. Reason is one of them, and feeling is one of them. And I don't know what the other 6 are. I just somehow I somehow think that there are 8 of them. Um, and so, and you use different ones at different times for different reasons. Um, but reason won't give you a meaning. There's no reason to live, you know, like no reasonable reason. You got to pick one. You got to pick something you like and live for that. So I'm going to die someday. So I could have killed myself today, but I chose not to, which means I'm here by choice, because I've decided that life as a general proposition is good, with the orgasms and the mosquito bites. The whole fucking ball of wax is worth doing. The game is worth the candle. The juice is worth the squeeze. That is my decision that I have made. I have chosen to be here. There's no reason to do anything, but it's not possible to do nothing. Like, even if I just try not to get out of bed, I'm eventually going to have to get up and go to the bathroom. And even if I was like so stubborn about it that I decided not to get up and go to the bathroom, I would still be breathing and metabolizing and existing. Like, you can't do nothing. You have to do something. Like, laying in bed not moving is doing something. Try to do nothing. Good luck. If you pull it off, please let me know how it worked, because I don't know how to do nothing. I can get very close. I can sit in a chair for hours staring at my bookshelf. But I can't do nothing. At least I've never pulled it off so far. So if you figure out how to do nothing, stop doing nothing for a minute. Let me know how you did it. I'll do nothing with you. That'll be great. What was I saying? Oh, so it's there's no reason to do anything. Some things feel better than others, but there's no reason behind it. So, but you can't do nothing. So, which means you can't do something reasonable. You have to do something unreasonable. Sorry, but you do. Choose something unreasonable to do and do it. All right. So, bullet points. I'm going to die someday. I'm here by choice. There's no reasonable thing to do, but you have to do something. So, do something. Decide what you want to do and do it. And what I want to do is I want to be happy. I want to try to get enlightened, even though I don't think it's possible. And I don't. I think even Buddha didn't get enlightened. Here's why. Because I think they got him at the last minute. I think Mara got Buddha with his final trick, as I think that the Buddha was right on the verge of enlightenment, and he was going to dissolve into nothing. And Mara said, well, you can't be enlightened unless everybody gets enlightened. Like, you're going to dissolve into nothing, and you're going to leave all these people behind. And the Buddha said he was going to come back, and he was going to try to help all of us get enlightened. And so then, back on the wheel, one more cycle of being almost enlightened, but not quite. And so I don't think enlightenment is possible in that way. I think you can move towards it, but I don't think you can ever get there. But we like to be on the verge of things. Being on the verge of things is the best. It's better than being there. There's this moment after you get the thing that you've been going for that is like when the log ride, it splashes down and then it floats across for a second. And it's like when all the lights go out, and it's like when silence falls. It's like you've achieved and you're floating in silent darkness. Or maybe you're floating in beautiful sunlight. Silent darkness is comforting to me. Maybe it's not for everybody. Maybe it's a beautiful sunny day that you're floating in. The point is, it's calm and it's peaceful, and it's like, yes. There's not, I don't have better words for it than, yes, the satisfaction of achievement. But then the boredom sets in and it keeps us moving. And so it's equally good, or maybe even better, as far as I'm concerned, to be like right there on the verge of achievement of whatever it is that you're trying to get, that feeling of being like right there, almost, ah, that's the best place to be, really. So, so I'm happy. I believe in being happy. I believe that happiness and kindness are the same thing. Um, and if you make people, like, people are naturally happy, and when they're happy, they're naturally kind, as long as there's nothing messing it up. There are plenty of reasons not to be happy, and there are plenty of reasons not to be kind. And so if there's some pain in your life, you might not be happy, and if you're not happy, you might not be kind. And that's, even the best people are kinder on their happier days, I think. And so I believe what I've chosen to do, not because it's better, but because it's what I want, is to be happy and to try to make other people happy. And it's not because I'm a good person, it's because I live in a world, and this world is full of people, and I think that if those people are happy, then they'll be nicer, and then I'll be living in a world full of nice people, which is what I would prefer. And then I've chosen enlightenment, not because I think I can get there, or not because it's better to be enlightened than it is to be confused, but because moving towards enlightenment feels good and I like it. Whenever I am confused and then I have an epiphany, I'm like, oh yeah, that's how that works. And that's one of my favorite feelings. I love it. So happiness, kindness, clarity, if you don't like the word enlightenment, or even if you do, clarity is a great word. Clarity. These are the general things that I want. Specifically, I want to write a book. Well, I've written a book, actually. I'm editing it now. So, I want lots of people to read my book. Lots of people to read my book, and I want them to tell me how much they love it. I know it's a good book, and I love it, but I still like it when other people love it. Of course. Otherwise, I would have just written it and put it away somewhere, I suppose. I want other people to read it, obviously. So that's specifics. I want to get my book published. And I want to I want to build places where people can come, artists, creative types can come and live and create, where life is easy for people to be creative, where the demands of rent and 40-hour jobs and 9 to 5s and things like that are not so coercive. Maybe not forever, maybe not for an entire life, but where a person who has a creative, inspired idea could come to my sanctuary and could live there for 6 months and could write their book or could compose their music or whatever it is that they want to do. Come live there for 6 months and paint a painting. Paint. I mean, it'd be a hell of a painting if it took 6 months to paint. I think. I don't know. I don't paint very much, but anyways, these are the things that I want to do. I felt very good when I woke up this morning, and I thought it might be nice to bring this energy that I woke up with, because I've been working. I've been working on it. Things have happened I got fired, and there was a temptation. There was a I wobbled. My spirit wobbled quite a bit. And I go, ah, you know, always there's a part of my mind going, hey, you have faith. You believe that the universe is benevolent. You believe that it's intelligent, and you believe that there's a plan for everything, and that everything is going according to that plan. And I go, yeah, but I just got canned. I'm super depressed. And then there's part of me that's like, but you hated that job. So it took a few days for me to be like, no, I can actually see how this might be the plan. So I started working on my book, and whatever meditating and working out, practicing to get my mood up where I like it to be. And I finally, I've woken up a lot of mornings and been like, I don't want to wake up. I don't want to be up and try to go back to bed. And did I get enough sleep? I have all these excuses. Should I even be up right now? I don't have anything that I have to do. Should I go back to sleep? It just hasn't felt very good. But today I woke up and I was like, yeah, man. Just naturally. Just without efforting to do it. Like, it feels like luck at this point, even though I have worked over weeks for this to happen. I've put in the work to lay the groundwork in order to get lucky. You gotta lay the groundwork before you can get lucky sometimes, I think. And so I've laid the groundwork, and it's become a fertile field for this type of flower to bloom in. And I woke up and I was like, hey man, it's good to be alive. And I just thought that it would be nice to take that good to be alive energy and make a video. And so I love you very much, even if I don't know you. Because I've come to realize that you don't need a reason to love. You can love for no reason. And so, ideally, to the best of my ability, I'm just going to love everything and everybody all the time because it feels better. But, for absolutely selfish reasons, I'm going to love everybody all the time. And I hope you're happy, because I want happy people in my world, because I think happy people are generally nicer. And I hope you're clear. I hope you have clarity. May you be happy. May you be clear. And I hope you have clarity also for perfectly selfish reasons, because I don't want a bunch of confused people running around in my world either. I would rather everybody understand what they want and be clear about it and get it. So may you be happy and may you be clear. I love you. May you be happy.